First I started with my sketch. I noticed that it looks a little flat, so I decided to redo it and start again, drawing in the forms to make sure it looks 3D. Then I'll add in the face forms. After the sketch, I move on to my liner, and the liner doesn't have to be clean, it just had to be readable and understandable to an audience. So for the hands, I like to use a 3D model like this and just trace over it. Next, the base layer. Let's just slap on some color, no shading or lighting down here. So for the shading, I like to start off with a multiply layer. Now before this step, you gotta think about the direction of your lighting. So right now, I thought about where is she gonna be? So she's gonna be outside. Outside in a bright blue sky would be a sunny day. The sunlight will be up in the sky. So then with your direction of lighting, I thought about where would my shadows and light occur. Then you want to work in your multiply layer like this. To make my work easier, I like to turn off the base color layer and work in my shadows. Usually you can choose a grayish mid-tone yellow, and when you put the base layer on like this, it will still look decent. This is because of the multiply layer, the blend mode that we added on the shading layer. It will take whatever color of the base color layer and the color that you added in the blend mode and darkens the area. So that's what multiply do. So if you choose more of a yellowish color, the shadows will result in more yellowish. Same if you choose a cooler blue, it will result in more cooler blue shadows. Even though when a person is under a sky blue environment, the shadow should appear as blue or cool blue. However, if we put it like this over here, you can see it's sort of unrealistic because our face has blood cells, so this shadow on the face will look more grayish red. Now I like to add in the terminator. So the terminator is that zone of transition between the light and shadow. It just keeps your art from looking muddy as well. Then to lighten things up, I'll just add a add glow blend mode like this. Now that I've sorted out my direction of lighting and my shadow family on a separate layer, on top of all of this, I just color to what I feel looks nice, adding in some more details. I like to keep the line art of the face separate and on top of all the details that I've done, just because it just gets messy. And I added in a rough idea of how I want my background to look like, as you can see over here. Then again, I'm refining it, adding more details. Okay, so for this, of how I created this outline, all you gotta do is select the layer you want to have the outlines. Then you go to layer, property, and click this one, the border effect. So you can change up the colors and the thickness of it. So when it comes to the whole thing, I try to think about my composition. The thing I like about painterly style is that you can be as abstract as you like. There is no limit on what you can add or cannot add. And I feel like having a clean style and sticking to the line art just restricts that part. So during the process of my painful experience of having to draw each and every single flowers as detailed as possible, I thought about why not merging shapes, because I was already planning to make the character Yvain as the focal point, as well as these main flowers. So I merged all of the flowers in the back, trying to make the shapes more simple. I thought about the line of direction. So you can see a little subtle S curve over here from the bottom of the canvas leading to the person's face. Instead of adding a straight line, it would convey more of a harsh and sharp feeling. So by making the line to be more smooth and curved, it enhances sort of like a warm romantic feeling towards this piece, which I wanted to go for. Then I try adding softer shapes, softer objects and lines to convey this message that this piece is harmless. Now, as we zoom closer over here, you can really see how I merge shapes. Sometimes you don't have to draw every single little detail. Less detail, less information can actually make your art look much better and more interesting. Then I added more detail like her red strand over here leading to the focal point as well, and This really stands out because you don't see any red over here, so try to add a little contrast like the red and yellow. Oh, and I'm still toggling this grayscale layer over here to see if my focal point has the most darkest value. So I added a multiply layer to darken the focal point. To get the grayscale layer, you just need to set a new layer to the color white and the blend mode to color. So I select everything and merge it to get my completed photo over here. Then I copy that and pasted it, and then I set the layer to blur or Gaussian blur. Then I click on the mask layer and then erase all the things that I don't want blurred. And that's it. That's how I got my piece. Okay, thanks for listening to this process. Hope you like it. Bye.